Even I had no idea like how to use it. Appreciate it for helping me
We
out,
we
really.
are
And
we are learning. We are all learning together.
we are aligned and we are together to bring profound shifts and the effusive shift like to make this world more illuminated. Really appreciate it. So the top leaders at the workplace, the empathic, the leader with the empathy, like they speak these kind of things. So this is on 360-degree changed uh, phrases and the statements, and we need to understand because here we are talking to the leaders today. So number one is I'm listening. They are the great listeners and they are so much attentive while they are listening. It's not happening because listening has its own content. Listening means you are listening more than 100% and your body is listening as well. Like if you're moving and you are supposed like you show up like I'm listening. No, listening mean like you're gonna be quiet from your body, your heart and mind, and your body is quiet and you are listening by giving 100% attention. You have the positive congruence. Like it happens multiple times when my kids come and I experienced in my past and I lost that connection with my kids. And then suddenly I apologize. So what happens? Sometimes we are listening a person, but uh, we are not looking at them. We are not having an eye connection, and we are not showing up because we are releasing a lot of energy through our body. We are right. We are lights, and we can't see, but body is so amazing. It has 100 trillion cells. So once you are congruent and you have attention, because attention is the biggest challenge on the globe. So they are very much attentive and they look at you and they always say they nod their head in yes. And it means like they're 100% attentive. They are ready to listen. Even they are ready to listen against yourself. Like this is why we have what's happening. We are losing relationship in our life. Why? Because we are not ready to listen. Like John Gottman, it was the greatest book I read a couple of years ago, like how to have a better relationship and how to manage your relation. Why people are having a broken up in their relations? The reason why, because they are not listening each other and they are not connected with each other, right? They are not even ready to listen. Even my better half, even she's talking against me. Maybe she has complained against me, and if she's talking to me, so I must listen, and I must listen with more than 100% attention, without asking this question that, and even without interruption. You need to listen. Listening has its content, and we can train people for hours and hours, like how to listen. It needs a lot of attention. And once we are listening, so we are ready to listen, even if the content is against me, even if someone is complaining against me without interrupting and without being angry, without saying like, hey, you are talking wrong. No, you are not allowed to interrupt. Otherwise, that's not listening. Then it's become argument. Then it's become, it brings deadlock. So leaders, they listen very carefully. So, and the next phrase, what leaders use is your feedback is important to me, right? And they always appreciate for the feedback because if there's no feedback, it means there was no listening. All right. So the both are pretty much connected. So they are ready to listen to feedback. When it's positive, it's negative, or it is a criticism. Why? Because by end of the day, we are growing up for the company and we have a vision, all right, and we don't have a personal agenda for the company. We have to think and work over our personal agenda for the company. So I'm proud to have you on a team. Why? Because leaders, they have the leaders team around them, all right. They most of the time they have 10 to 15 people around them that think like him, they work like him. And it's the leader job to train them as a team leadership group, which is very special. Why? Because this group is always ready to criticize the leader, and the leader is trained by those leaders who he is surrounded with. So can I help you with anything. Leaders are always go a mile ahead, maybe 100 miles ahead, but because they are ready to entertain, they are ready to help the internal client, all right? They are ready to understand them, their position, and they always put themselves like in their shoes. So that's why like they are always ready to help them to understand the processes or the standard operating procedures or to know about like how to deal with the client, to the external client, even they are ready to fix their personal issues. So they are ready to help them. Why? Because the personhood level happens in your life being a leader once you are ready to help them in personally. All right, even the person or the pinnacle level leaders, they are ready to attend their personal events in the birthday parties or the funeral ceremonies. They are ready to fix their personal problems, even they're ready to schedule their life, to discipline their life. So people come, the internal client comes to the leader. So why? Because they knew like if we could talk to the leader, so we will have a solution. So next is it's okay to make mistakes. Why? Because you only learn when you're making mistakes. Making mistakes is a blessing. Why? Because you can't learn from success, you learn from mistakes. Like the top great companies, they have to do the culture. Like you over there, you're allowed to make mistakes. It means you are allowed, you are given a trust. All right, you trust someone, you give them a task, you trust them, and then you ask, and you have an accountability, and you make them better and better and better. All right. So tell me more about your idea. So you are not just relying on your personal ideas or your personal inputs, like the egoism. Most of the leaders they are egoists because it's a personality issue. It's not about the leadership culture because if you are not leader, if you have an egoist personality, it means you are not a leader because being a leader, you are really away from that egoism, and you are really away from that kind of attitude, which always help you to disconnect with the people or to lose the relationship with the people. So they are ready to listen ideas, and this is what's happening in the top great companies. The top great leaders, they come into the company and they write up a question, they write a problem statement, and they ask the internal client to criticize and to discuss about it. They are always busy in the conference rooms where they are ready to find solutions. And this is what's happening in with the Sundar Pichai, in the Google or the Elon Musk and the Mark Zuckerberg or the Warren Buffett or the Steve Jobs. They all have developed this uh, great culture of listening and to coming up with a new idea. So there is no ego issue, all right? So the ego happens, ego means like I am what I'm not. And then I start defending, all right? Defending myself for that. So where there is an ego, it means there's no leadership. And where there is an ego, there will be no great idea. Where there will be ego, there will be no listening and there would be no feedback. And people won't be ready like to help. Why? Because help is a beautiful word. Help doesn't mean like I'm weakest. It means, yes, I'm weakest and I need help to become more stronger. So the great leaders, they're always ready to help and they ask for the help and they're ready to help their internal client. All right. So what do you need to succeed? Why? Because the purpose out there is not just to succeed, even the purpose of that leadership culture is to thrive in the company. So I appreciate your hard work. So leaders always appreciate. They always come up with, yes, I know you can do it. You got the potential. I know I didn't see anybody doing this, but I know you. I count on you. I trust in you that you got the special potential. You are totally different human being. I know you can do it. So then they say, I appreciate your hard work. They don't talk most of the time about the results because they always appreciate the input of their internal client. So let's find out the solution together. Why? Because it's a leader's job like to gel the people and to have the greatest team, and team stands for together everyone achieves more. And when they have they won, they celebrate and they back up each other. They are Ready, like in sports, what happens if someone, if you have an experience, if you're an Indian or from UK, so you know better. Like in cricket, what happens if the fielder like missed the ball from his position, so the other fielder comes from and he leaves his position and come to block and to stop that boundary. And the same thing happens like in the soccer. Sometimes people they leave the position and they go and they fight for winning and they leave their position and they go on to the other positions where the people are not really performing up to the mark. So it's about uh, the teamwork. So let's find a solution together. It only happens once you have a team. So then you did a great job on that project. Always appreciate, and it's a very positive energy. All right, the leader brings, and leader's job is not to coach all the time, and it's also a leader's job to remind their internal clients, yes, I remember in that project you have performed really amazing and you have really showed up the greatest performance. I can't forget that your performance. So I would expect you like to behave like that. All right. So you're gonna do like this. So this is what happens in the great company like where the leadership culture is. So your input makes a difference. So you always appreciate that, yes, you are an amazing person and you are making a great difference. All right. You always talk to your internal clients individually, and in the teams you appreciate collectively. All right. So how can I support you? So it's always like, how can I help you? How can I support you? Because the leader is a resource for the company for the solutions of any problem, of any challenge, or any situation. All right. So leaders always expect to uh, to make other people's job more easier and to support them. So how can I make your job easier? And then thank you for the honesty. Thank you is a very positive statement word the top leaders they mostly use in their company. So I understand your perspective. Sometimes you are not giving 100%, so they understand. They always talk about it like, hey, I know your perspective. I know you've been doing you have been contributing a lot, and I know there was a little issue in back of your home or somewhere. So they come up with there. They acknowledge their excuses before they apologize for them. So they say, I understand your perspective. So here we have a beautiful law I need to discuss when Edward F. Hutton talks, people listen. That was very popular statement. When leaders talk, people listen. And I'm just using this metaphor in 1904, one company started its work. It was a financial company. It was offering financial services and the financial products. So the Edward F. Hutton talks. When Edward F. Hutton talks, people listen. So they advertise it onto the TV in 1970. It could have a very positive impact onto the company. So the key is whenever the leaders talk, the people listen. People listen. The way leaders talk, it has a lot of influence. So uh, we are using this great metaphor, Edward F. Hutton talks, and it had a lot of impact onto the company's portfolio, onto the company's business. Why? Because this statement has been used very humorously and has been really acknowledged at the very vast level when Edward F. Hutton talks, people listen. So it could bring a lot of impact overall into the business. So whenever leaders talk, people listen. So it became a great strength of the company, and it has a lot of impact. Number one, what it could get is the credibility. So because of this line, the company could earn credibility, and the company people started to believe in that company. Why? Because it was a financial company, and it's pretty hard, like, to earn that kind of credibility. So through television, through the media, it was popular like a fire. They've been investing a lot on this advertising campaign, and that's why the company could earn the credibility. And secondly, the key company could get the recognition. The people started to know, because in that advertisement there was a rich bourgeois class person who was putting a bag in his hand, having a three-piece suit, and like having a very good hairstyle. So he was like a great top executive of the company, uh, was like the boss, like the leader. So it in that advertisement, the logo, the copy statement was there: when Edward F. Hutton talks, people listen. And everyone started to talk about that company. Yes, whenever Edward F. Horton talks, people listen. People listen. So people started to listen because it became very popular in whole United States and all over the globe. Like, it became the great popular statement. So the second thing, the third thing, the business growth. So because of that statement, Edward F. Horton talked. When Edward F. Horton talks, people listen. So the business could have the great growth in late 90s, from 1970s to 80s. It could have the great growth, and a company became the giant company in the United States. And the last benefit, like, that company could earn because of that beautiful statement, uh, because we are totally concerned about, like, why leaders are not being listened to the company. So it created a charisma, and the company could get a lot of awards and the accolades because of its great statement, and it helped. And the people universally started to talk with each other. According to the common survey, almost like everyone in the United States was speaking up in 1970s that when Edward F. Horton talks, people listen. So the leaders, they are the leaders when they are being listened by their internal clients. Right, I have a story here. Leadership is not a position, and it's a choice. Once you come up and you bring